right. All right. What is up, everyone? Welcome back. Man, what a crazy couple of weeks it's been. We did it, though. We made it to November 20th for our beautiful episode of Model Monday Live. Welcome to everyone. Bjorn Vanderbroek is here from Belgium. Welcome. Victor K, the legend, the champion, is here. Chris Knudsen is here. What's up? Lami Architect is here. Greeting from Durban, SA. All right, welcome. And Phosphor says, greetings hello from Germany. I didn't realize you were from Germany, Phosphor. Welcome. Our plasticity wizard. And Aaron C is here. Another legend in the tournament scene. Welcome. Procky is here. Will is here. Ivan is here as well. Wow, 3 of the top 4 are here in the chat saying hello. We just need to see if Imats is out there going to join us today. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, I will be relying on you a little bit to let me know if the audio sounds good, if the music and the audio are mixed together and sounding good. Let me know. If anything's too loud or too quiet, let me know that as well. I'm not even using earbuds today. I'm just totally flying without a net. And Jern is here. John Degestein, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to sip my coffee here. This beautiful artwork one of my roommates did. Can see the top of it is kind of coming off, and I always get a little nervous when the top of these mugs starts coming off. You know, you got to wonder, where's that going? Is that going into my mouth? I don't know. I always worry. All right, and what's up? And Gatus is here. Welcome. And Stryker is here. What's up? How you doing, buddy? I'm doing good, man. It's beautiful Monday. We're back. We're doing some Model Monday Live activity. So Chris Knudsen said, my wife is looking over my shoulder today and is curious how old you are. Is that rude to ask? It's not rude to ask, no. You can ask whatever you want here in the wonderful world of Model Monday Live. Erwick is in the chat. What's up, Eric? At work, so it might get pulled off without notice. Now, guys, I don't know if you know this or not. Speaking of legends being in the chat, but if we go over to TooTallToby.com, we can see that on the tournaments flyout menu, there is a 2024 Spring Open Tournament leaderboard. And look at who's at the top of this leaderboard right now. Erwick from Canada. Now, we're doing something a little bit special this month with the tournament leaderboard, or not this month, but this time around. This is a qualifier for the 2024 Spring Open Tournament. We're going to have 16 people in the tournament, and we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to obfuscate most of the times, but once we cross over this threshold of 10 runners, once we go to 11 runners, what we'll see is that some of the top times are going to become unlocked as far as their videos. So if you want to watch, if you want to see the way the top runners are creating these models, well, as soon as we get 1 or 2 more entries, we'll see these top videos being unobfuscated, and you'll be able to click on the link and you'll be able to actually see, how Erwick pulled this off in such a short amount of time. You'll see how Mr. Alex pulled off his run in such a short amount of time. You'll actually be able to watch. So we're kind of trying to find the balance here between, letting people know that, they have no idea kind of what the other times are versus finding out kind of what the very top of the pack are doing in their runs and being able to follow through with their runs. We're experimenting a little here. As you guys know, we are trailblazing here on this channel. And so, who knows what's going to end up sticking, what we're going to like, what we're not going to like. But the tournament is open now, the Spring Open Tournament qualifier. The first matches are going to take place in February. So we got a few months. There's no rush or anything to get your run in there. But if you did want to get in here and get some more practice, I know you're here today to get practice doing 3D modeling. And you have the ability to go in and model up these 3 parts, see how fast you can model them, and get onto that tournament leaderboard. And the top 16 from that leaderboard are going to be entered into the tournament. One of the things that I really like that we're doing this time around with the tournament is we're relying a lot more on your TooTallToby username, profile, your free TooTallToby account to populate some of the information in the leaderboard and some of the information in the tournament. So we're really trying to leverage the platform more now to kind of, solidify this sense of community, but also just to have a little bit more consistency and frankly, make it a little easier for the runners. Instead of, the past couple tournaments we've done, it's been a lot of emailing back and forth with the runners. Now we're going to be able just to say, look, just go into your profile, add your image to your profile. We'll use that for your avatar. Go into your profile and update your fun facts. We'll use that in the tournament. Update your country, update your CAD system. We'll just use all that for the tournament. So it just makes it a lot easier for the runners, a lot less filling out of different forms along the way. So, okay, let's get into it here. Jordan says, I'm going to have to practice a lot to have any chance of being in the top 16 hashtag trailblazing. Yeah, well, I think you're well on your way, and I love seeing you in here every week in Model Monday Live. So let's get into it. I know what you guys are all here for. You want to find out who is the fastest in the chat. Very excited to be doing these Model Monday Lives each week, live streaming at 1 p.m. every Monday, as long as there's no other obligation. Sometimes we have to train on Mondays, so we have to kind of push back. But today we're going to do 2 CAD speed modeling challenges with the chat, find out who is the fastest in the chat. We're going to do some tournament results. We're going to do some live solves using Onshape. And of course, we're going to interact with the best chat ever. So the models I'm going to do today come right from the tournament. These are models that none other than the legend himself, Victor, modeled live during the tournament, during the November 11th tournament. So I'm going to model up this one, the 23-T-77 receiver, and I'm going to model up this one here, the dust lid, using Onshape. And I'll do those in just a few minutes, but just in case you wanted to see these, grab a screen capture, whatever. If you wanted to, you certainly can. I'll make these full screen in case you want to play along, in case you want to see if you've got the chops to model up a part like this. The receiver and the dust lid. These are not the challenges that we're doing today with the chat. These are just bonus challenges that we're doing, and just in case you wanted to see them full screen and grab a screen capture, there you go. Now you've got it. Now you've got the geometry that you need. But today what we're going to be doing is modeling against one another. And if you like this kind of content, the easiest way you can support the channel is just to like and subscribe. And of course, to share and reshare. Take a screen capture of what we're doing today, share it out with your community, and you guys can all join in and kind of help grow the channel. We can all be a part of this from the ground up. Gonzalo is in the chat. What is up? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. And with that, let's get into our Model Monday Live CAD speed modeling challenges. The first challenge here, I'm going to show you a 2D print. I'm going to ask you to turn it into a 3D model to calculate the mass and to enter that mass directly into the YouTube chat. What's up, Amir? Thanks for joining us. Welcome, welcome. The basic rules are that you can use any CAD package so long as you can input density and output mass. And I've even seen, I think it was Phosphor, do this in plasticity without being able to input density, but instead doing a manual calculation in his videos to calculate the mass, which I think is just absolutely epic. And of course, use the specified precision when you are answering these questions. And finally, the first person who gets the correct answer in the chat will be declared the winner, will win the points. Points are still for fun this season, but if everything goes according to plan, points are actually going to mean something next season. Season 6 of Model Monday Live coming early 2024. So for now, the points are still just for fun, but maybe changing soon. Here's the units that we've been using in Model Monday Live that we're going to be using today during your challenges. And if you're here for the first time, make sure that you take a screen capture of these units so that you can make a template representing these materials, representing these units. A question from Erwick: how long is the leaderboard going to be open? The leaderboard for the tournament. So this is a tournament leaderboard. We're still going to have the monthly leaderboards, but this one here, TooTallToby.com/spring. That's the URL, TooTallToby.com/spring. This leaderboard's going to be open until I think February 15th or February 24th. Somewhere in there. We need to give ourselves 2 weeks to get everything organized between the time the leaderboard closes and the tournament begins. We're actually making a revision to the rules right now. Originally, we said the leaderboard was going to be open until the end of January. I'm sorry, I misspoke a moment ago. It'll be either January 15th or January 24th, something like that. Vicky is in the chat. moderating, helping to answer these questions. 12424. What a great number. I love that number. So you can see Vicky in the chat letting us know the correct answer here is 12424. That is when the leaderboard will close. Gonzalo saying, when will the times be revealed? The times are going to remain obfuscated for the most part, except for the top 3 or 4 times are going to be shown. So once we get another, I think if we get 11 or 12 runners on this leaderboard, these top times in their videos are going to be unobfuscated so that you can kind of see what the top people are doing and learn from them. Question from Saraji came in. I'll answer that in just a second. I will let you know, and I'll address your comment as well, Erwick, there in just a moment. But let's get into it here. I want to make sure we give people enough time to do these live models. So the advanced rules are: this is meant to be fun and good-spirited. I will make mistakes along the way, and the Ivan exploit is permitted during Model Monday Live. So keep that in mind if you're into all of these rules, and you are in the right place. And let's get into this first challenge. This first challenge for you, the chat. Let's find out who is the fastest in the chat on this November 20th. This first challenge begins in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh man, the coil mount. This is one that was gonna be in the tournament. It was on the wheel during the tournament. But the Wheel of Fate, it did not select this model, but I wish that it had. Aaron C., I actually, I emailed with you a little bit about this phenomenon. I made all these really cool models, and a bunch of them didn't get selected, and it kind of broke my heart, but you got to just go with what the wheel gives you. What is the mass of this part in 0.xxx pounds? It looks like it's a sheet metal part, right? But does it have to be a sheet metal part? I don't know. Hint, hint. You guys can try to figure it out. The unit system is IPS. The material is plain carbon steel. The density is 7,800 kilograms per cubic meter. The answer we're looking for is in pounds. What is the mass of this part in pounds? You'll notice that there is some magenta text on this thing. The notch is only on one side. The hole is centered on that 0.25 radius. That hole, of course, is kind of an Ivan exploitable feature, right? We're going through 2 wall thicknesses that are the same. But it is a through hole and is centered on that 0.25 radius. You can see in the isometric view, it does go through both sides of that coil mount. This is meant to hold something in place, and so you got to kind of tighten it down there, and that's what you use up top there to tighten it down. So the question is, what is the mass of this part? You're going to grab a screen capture. You're going to come up with a plan. How are you going to model this thing? And then you're going to go for it. You're going to try to model this thing as best you can. And this is not an easy part, and you can see on it looks almost like we're missing a dimension. Don't be deceived by that. The overall height of this thing is 1.375. You can see that down in section view AA. So I know that when I was looking at this thing, when I was auditing this thing, I was like, wait a second, am I missing a dimension here? No, the overall height is listed. It's just listed down in that section AA, which is a little bit hard to visualize, but hopefully now that I've told you that, you can visualize what that section AA is. All right, let's get back into it here. A couple of questions coming in from the chat. We want to make sure that we address all the questions that come in on Model Monday Live. So the question came in from Siraj. Hey, Toby, I have a question and a request. Can you make a video on measuring real-life models and creating those in 3D CAD software? So, yeah, I think that probably the best content that I have that's pretty close to that is the tutorial that I created on creating the bass guitar, modeling up that bass guitar. I did a ton of measuring and modeling in that playlist. It's on the TooTallToby YouTube channel. So yeah, the guitar tutorial, exactly. The guitar tutorial, which is on the, it's youtube.com/TooTallToby. Let me just bring this up over on my other screen. Bring this into place here. Here it is. youtube.com/TooTallToby. There is a, whoops, let me get onto my, there we go. youtube.com/TooTallToby. There is a playlist on there. That playlist is called Free SolidWorks Training Bass Guitar View Full Playlist. And yeah, using caliper, that's exactly what I used on that. So I used photos on that, but I also used caliper on a lot of the parts that were in that model. using caliper. That's usually what I do. I usually do a combination of measuring with caliper and measuring with, or using a photograph as a guide. I think that's a great like 1-2 combination of creating models efficiently, learning how to both work off of photographs and learning how to work from a physical caliper. So yeah, if you check those out, those have got some pretty good info on there. The other one that I think might be helpful for you is on the Onshape YouTube channel. Let me find this one here. Let's see. So on the Onshape YouTube channel, there's also a playlist that I'm featured in. It's the SolidWorks Expert Learns Onshape ongoing series. And there's a couple of parts in here that I measured with a caliper as I was building them. The coffee mug is the main one. I'm just trying to remember how much of that I actually showed. Yeah, here, using a photo to guide 3D model design. So this one I use a caliper a lot as well. Using the photo to create the model of the handle, but taking physical measurements off the handle and then using that to help guide the design. So the stuff with the coffee mug I also did a lot with. Same thing here. Pro tip for importing images into Onshape, reverse engineering using photos. I know a lot of this stuff is kind of like the same thing, like I'm using photos, but I'm also using a physical caliper along the way. And I'm always looking for good ideas for videos too. So I do appreciate that insight, Siraj. I will definitely take that under advisement, and maybe we can make some videos on that topic. I'm always looking for ideas and inspiration about what people want for their, the next power move series. So I get a lot of challenges. This is what Siraj writes. I get a lot of challenges while I'm going to interview for a job. So they hand over a caliper and they ask me to design a product like making a mouse or iPods. Yeah, earbuds. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And that's it's good. It's good that you're getting challenged like that. It's going to be kind of a similar process to what we're doing in Model Monday Live, and some of the stuff I'll show you today as far as thought process. But the first part is just going to be to get those measurements and kind of get that hand sketch in place. Gonzalo says, have you done reverse engineering with the scanner from the sponsor? No, not yet. Actually, that's going to be something that's going to be coming out early next year. So yeah, I've been toying around with it a little bit, and I'm excited to see what it can really do and to share some content with all of you. And that's definitely coming. So great question, and I'm excited about it. It's all I'm really going to say right now. I'm very excited about it, and huge shout out to Revopoint, who is that sponsor. Revopoint sponsored the tournament. We're going to talk about the tournament and the results here in just a moment, and huge shout out to them. And also got myself a Revopoint scanner, and I'm excited to start using that and sharing what I learned from that with all of you. So let's talk about the tournament here, the TooTallToby's World Championship of 3D CAD Speed Modeling. This tournament was sponsored by 4 primary sponsors of the brackets. Joko Engineering, making all your dreams come true. JokoEngineering.com sponsoring the black bracket. Ivan the Reasonable, the champion of that black bracket. Very difficult bracket to get through. The blue bracket, sponsored by SolidBox. We had the guys from SolidBox join us on November 11th. We saw Victor K navigate his way through that bracket and come out the champion. We saw the red bracket with Imants, the Onshape user, just running clean right across the top of that board and becoming the champion of the red bracket. The red bracket was sponsored by Alibre, who put up some excellent prizes for the tournament, put up a seat of CAD for every single runner in the tournament. Huge shout out to Alibre. Visit them at alibre.com. And the green bracket, like Gonzalo mentioned a moment ago, sponsored by Revopoint 3D scanners, making 3D scanners available for every engineer out there. 3D scanners, they've been specializing in 3D scanners for a long time, and a great product, Revopoint 3D. What Revopoint did was they put up scanners for the top 4 runners, the final 4, and Aaron C. was one of those runners. He cut his way through the green bracket to become the champion of that green bracket. And so then from there, we were able to move into our finals, which took place on November 11th. We live streamed from a conference center. We got to watch it all go down live. And in the end, it was Ivan the Reasonable versus Victor K in the finals. They were the ones who were able to win their semifinal matches. And it was Victor K using SolidWorks from the United States, who is now the champion, the world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling in 2023. I know there were a lot of people out there who wanted to watch the finals and didn't want a spoiler, so that's why I've been kind of quiet this past week, but you're gonna see a lot more content coming out celebrating these epic runners in this Final Four. So great to have all 4 of those champions in that Final Four. Aaron C., Imants, Victor K., and Ivan the Reasonable. I just feel so lucky to have met all these guys and to have had the chance to get them into this final and work with them all together in this final. So huge congratulations to everyone. And we also got Ricardo Jean in the chat. What is up, Ricardo Jean? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Suraj asked another question here. How do some people make a lion or a dog face with great detail on 3D CAD? Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, a lot of times that's happening via 3D scanner. Sometimes it is happening just with a lot of surface modeling. Certainly in the old days, there was a lot more surface modeling that went into projects like that. And that's really the trick. Like the idea of surface modeling, what makes surface modeling so powerful is that you can do one face at a time instead of needing to do all the faces of a feature. And a lot of times that frees you up to create that kind of crazy swoopy curvature that you need when you're creating a lot of detail. It means that you end up with a model tree that's like thousands of features long, but that's really the trick. When you do surface modeling, you can just do one face at a time instead of having to do all the faces of the feature at once. So a huge GG to all of our runners. Ricardo Jean in the chat. Ricardo Jean here on the board as well. We see him down here smiling. Huge GG to everybody who was in that tournament. We had 32 amazing runners in that tournament. And of course, congrats to our champion, Victor K, making it through, our world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling for 2023 into 2024. And again, thanks to the sponsors of those matches, of those brackets. So awesome to have those sponsors working with us and for putting up some great prizes. It was awesome. The third and fourth place, or really third and third place winners, finished with a prize package which consisted of a gift card, a seat of Alibre Atom 3D CAD, which is valued at $99 to $149 depending on when you get it. It's actually on sale right now. If you want to visit Alibre.com, it's on sale right now. Lifetime license of 3D CAD for $99. And a Revopoint Inspire 3D scanner worth $458. So the total value of their prize was almost $700. The second place winner, the runner-up, Ivan the Reasonable, second year in a row finishing runner-up. So huge respect to Ivan. Just always consistent, always putting in these amazing showings. Gets a $250 gift card, a lifetime seat of Alibre Design Pro CAD software, which is valued at $600, and a Revopoint Range 3D scanner, which is valued at $779. So $1,628 for second place's prize. Awesome. And our first place, our champion, Victor K, won a gift card for $500, a seat of Alibre Design Expert 3D CAD software, lifetime license valued at $1,149, and a Revopoint Mini 3D scanner valued at $879, $2,528 total prize value. And that's factoring in that Alibre software is on sale right now. So this is actually a pretty big discount because it's on sale right now. So this prize package is actually closer to $3,000 at the standard prices. So huge congratulations to our runners. Big prizes up top, and just an awesome tournament all around. Really epic, and we learned a lot from that tournament, you know, having 32 people in the tournament. And so now we're mixing it up a little bit. We're going into the Spring Open. We're only going to have 16 runners. The duration of the tournament's not going to be as long, but you are all welcome to enter that tournament, TooTallToby.com/spring. Or of course, if you have coworkers, friends, anybody you know who's in 3D CAD who wants to enter, the leaderboard is currently open, TooTallToby.com/spring. All the rules are on there, how to register, everything like that. It's all on there, TooTallToby.com/spring. for the CAD vs. CAD Spring Open 2024. And just kind of on that note, remember, you want to make sure you sign up for a free account at TooTallToby.com. This is where you're going to be able to actually register and participate in these tournaments and these leaderboard challenges. So make sure you sign up for that free account. All right, I think I'm going to do some 3D modeling here using Onshape, kind of talk to you a little bit about my thought process creating a model like this. Like I said at the intro, this is a model that Victor K did live during the tournament, during the 2023 World Championship of 3D CAD. And we can see that this part is called receiver. The first thing I'm going to look at here is what's the unit system, what's the material and the material density, and then I'm going to start trying to come up with a plan. And so one thing that jumps out to me in this model is that we're going from one shape, kind of a slotted shape here, down into a different shape, kind of a circular shape here. And anytime we're going from one shape into another shape, what jumps out in my head is we're probably going to be doing this as a sweep. As a loft. You could maybe do it as a sweep. You could maybe even do it with some other type of like a crazy taper command with fillets, but I don't think any of those are really going to work better than a loft, and I think a loft is the most obvious choice here. So there's going to be a loft in this feature at some point. I'm also going to notice this geometry here, that it's kind of coming up and then tapering in and then coming up again. I see that I've got a diameter here, I've got a diameter down here, I've got a height here, I've got a height here, and I've got an angle. You know, when you've got all of those factors in the model, at least what jumps out to me is this is probably going to be a revolved shape. That's what it kind of says to me. I'm probably going to create some type of a revolve for that shape. And then again, we've got this kind of slotted area up top. And so maybe this slotted area up here is going to be a sketch that then gets extruded. And then once I've got that slot shape up top and I've got that revolve shape down below, now I'm going to be ready to start blending these together. Now, I think that you're going to get the best results from this loft if you incorporate some kind of a guide curve strategy. And I even included that as a hint here on the print. Hint, use guide curves here. Use guide curves to get that kind of taper in between those two sections. There's one kind of tricky area of this model, which is that the model has a wall thickness of 3 millimeters everywhere, except for up here at the top of the model. It's got a wall thickness of 6 millimeters. 6 millimeters wall thickness on this top surface. And so I think that could easily trip up our runners or trip up anybody who's trying to model this thing. So I just want to make sure that I am aware of that and kind of looking out for that. So as far as, best practices, kind of like we were talking about earlier, if you go for a job interview and they ask you to model up something like this, well, the first step is just going to be to come up with a game plan. Before you even jump into your 3D CAD and start modeling, come up with a basic game plan, and then you can start jumping into your 3D CAD. You can start modeling this up. So I'm going to model this up here using Onshape, and I'm using the free version of Onshape. If you want to sign up for the free version of Onshape, you can go to onshape.com/free. If you're more in a professional environment, you can sign up for a seat of Onshape Professional and get a trial license, and that way you and your team can kind of learn a little bit more about what the true capabilities are, particularly of the data management capabilities and collaboration capabilities. So you can get Onshape free, you can get Onshape Professional, and once you get in here, you can see that we've got our front, top, and right plane, and just kind of based on how this thing is modeled up here, I think I can do most of my work on the front plane, at least for those initial shapes. Now, one thing that I like to do when I'm creating geometry in Onshape is I like to kind of lay out as much geometry as possible. Onshape makes it really, really friendly. It's a very friendly environment for kind of doing layout type work. So I'm going to drop in this first rectangle here. This is going to be at 40 by 70. And what that's doing is it's capturing this shape here on the front view. Capturing this shape down here on the front view. So 40, which is 1/2 of 80, and then 70. So basically I just sketched this rectangle right here. Now I'm going to create this remaining geometry for my revolve, but I'm also going to create this geometry here in this first sketch just to kind of save me and set me up for some layout work later on in the design. And Onshape does a really nice job of letting us do that kind of layout work. And of course you can do that in other CAD packages as well, SolidWorks, Fusion, there's other CAD packages out there, but I have been working a lot with Onshape this year, and one of the things I've noticed is just how easy it is to kind of create overlapping layout type geometry and then save time by learning how to leverage that layout type geometry. So here what I'm going to do is a 55 over 2 so I can get 1/2 of that distance, and then this is going to be at an angle of 45. Now, I could stop at that point and just turn that into a revolve, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm also going to include some of the remaining geometry as, again, as layout work, as layout geometry, just to kind of save me time later on. So this is going to have a distance here of 200 over, over 2 or just 100. This is going to have a total height here of 187 for the total height. And then this is going to have that angle dimension for my what is ultimately my guide curve here. This is going to have that angle dimension of 30 degrees. And then I could do that same thing on the other side. I could also mirror that across. There's a couple of ways that we could get that line over to the other side, but I think what I'm going to do here is just make a construction line and then pick that line and the construction line and just choose to mirror it across. And that way I've got that guide on the other side as well, ready to go when the time comes. So now I'm going to take that sketch, I'm going to turn it into a revolve, but it's not going to be the entire sketch. It's just going to be this region and this region. And then I'm going to revolve that about this axis here. That gives me that lower section of the model. And now I'm ready to move on to the next feature, which I'm going to pick this lower plane on the model and this point. So you see I picked both of them. And that way when I jump into the plane command, Onshape gives me a new plane up top here. And that's going to set me up nicely to create the geometry for that kind of slot shape. So I'll create a line that comes across here to a distance of 130, and then I'm going to click on that line. Now slot here is underneath offset. You pick a line, you go to slot, and then you can see the Onshape gives you the geometry for that slot, and that's going to have a width of 70. And then what I could do is I could either select this midpoint or I could take a point here and a point here. I just dropped in a new point there to make those two related to one another. And that sets me up to do my extrusion. So now we're going to take this, we're going to say this is going to go up to a vertex, and that vertex is going to come right from my layout sketch. It's going to come right here. And so now I've got those two solid shapes, and now I'm ready to turn that into a blend between those two solid shapes. And so I'm going to do a loft here that goes from this face down to this face. And then I'm going to say that I want to use some guides. You can kind of see that loft is like got a little hump here. It's kind of like twisting. So I'm going to go into guides and continuity, and the guides I'm going to use are going to be this line and this line. And that you saw right away, it just like immediately smooths out that transition. And then finally, I'm just going to say I want to merge this with everything, and there we go. This thing's looking pretty good. That's, I think, what we wanted here from this receiver. So now we're ready to shell this out. We're going to use a shell command here with a wall thickness of 3 millimeters. I like to pick this face, and then I like to right mouse button and say confirm shell 1. Just kind of saves me having to go up to this dialog box up here when I'm working in Onshape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this top surface here, begin a sketch. Don't really need to see some of these earlier sketches. Let's hide some of this earlier layout work that we had. And I'm just going to go through here and create some circles. So we'll take the center of this arc here. There it is. And that's going to be a circle at 35. And then we're also going to have a circle here at 55. And we're going to have the same thing on the other side. We certainly could mirror it, or we could just draw it again. Onshape makes it so easy to just add those dimensions that, of course, if it was a real model, we would want to do it the right way. But in this case, I think I'm okay just doing it with a doubled or a second dimension, duplicating that dimension. Now we're gonna make that 25. And now we're ready to take that geometry and do what's called a remove. And what we're gonna remove here is gonna be this face, this region, and this region. And we can just go down to 6 millimeters since that's the wall thickness of that face. But if we think about it, we never actually made that face 6 millimeters. So I'm gonna right mouse button here on the front plane and say section view. And once I go into section view here, you can see that that wall thickness is also 3 millimeters. They're all the same. You can just kind of see visually, this should really be doubled. So I'm going to pick that inside face, and I'm going to launch one of my favorite commands in Onshape and really in any CAD system, move face, which lets me just take that lower face and just kind of push that down. So now that top region does have the correct wall thickness there of 6 millimeters, and the rest of the model has a wall thickness of 3 millimeters. Now we can go back to that earlier sketch that we made. We can jump into an extrude once again, and we can say this region, and this region all need to get extruded to 10 millimeters going down. We hit the check mark. And now if we look at this model here from the underside, and then we compare that to our 2D print, you can see we got pretty similar results there. That's what we wanted. That's looking good. I like the way that's looking. So the final thing we have to do is just this kind of like a lubrication port there on the side. So once again, we can use this shortcut where we pre-select a plane. I'm going to right mouse button in the background and say turn section view off. I'm going to pre-select this plane here and choose the plane command. I'm going to offset that out to 53 millimeters for that lubrication port. Now I'm going to pick that face, begin a sketch, and I'm going to sketch 2 circles once again. Let's press N here to get normal 2. We're going to make a circle here with a diameter of 40. That's 40, not 4. 40. And, oh, what did I do that time? Okay. Thought maybe that time I typed 400. And we're going to make a circle here with a diameter of 20. And then we're going to say that that's going to be at a height from the base of 25. There we go. And now we're going to do an extrude, and that's going to go up to face. We can go right up to this face here. And once we get that extrude completed, we can reselect that sketch and just do another extrude. And this time, it's not going to be the whole sketch. It's just going to be this inner region of that sketch. Whoops, let me just show the sketch there. There we go. And then that is going to be a remove, and that could go either up to vertex, and I could pick the origin, or I can just take that same depth. And so there we go. That's that model. Pretty fun little model there, I think. I'm going to go to assign material. I'm going to go to the TooTallToby custom materials library and assign ABS as the material. And we're going to pick this face here and go into our mass properties. And we're coming up with a mass properties of 275 grams. And if I look at my answer sheet, the correct answer is 274 plus or minus 4 grams. So we are within tolerance. And that is how you can create that model, the 23-T, what is it, 23-T, move this back in place here, dash 71, or 777, excuse me, receiver. A very cool model there from the tournament. I know that Victor did that just a little bit faster. Erwick, give me some feedback here. You need to practice creating sketches on a mate connector. You could skip the plane altogether. Oh, yeah, that's a good tip there. And David in the chat saying, GG, Toby. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. GG indeed. That's a very fun little model to practice. Lots of cool Onshape skills that you can learn there. Siraj in the chat says, not gonna lie, but the Onshape UI looks way cooler than SolidWorks. Yeah, it does indeed. They really have done a nice job. I've had the guy who created Onshape, John Hirschdeck, one of the founders of both SolidWorks and Onshape, on the channel before. He joined us during the tournament doing some co-commentary, and he talked a lot about that, about the thought process that went into kind of creating the Onshape UI so it wasn't too distracting, and so it was easy just to kind of get in and get your work done. And so really interesting to kind of pick his brain a little bit. I'd love to talk to him more about that, but interesting that you pick up on that as well, Siraj. So that's it for that model. Let's see here. Why not use line, or why not use lines instead of rectangle? Just curious. I guess if I did a rectangle there, it was probably just meant to be a little bit faster. Let's see here. Rectangle's 4 lines instead of 1. Yeah, faster. Okay, yep. And Chris Nutson says, I picked a heck of a day to jump back into modeling challenges. That was brutal. Yes, indeed. That model was a little bit tough that we gave you guys. So let's see who is the winner of this first challenge. But before we do, just a quick reminder, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, please support the channel. Please like and subscribe. Please share and reshare. And just don't forget that we do run off of a value for value model here at TooTallToby, which means that if you are enjoying what you're seeing here on the channel and you want to support the channel, go to TooTallToby.com/donate. There's a section in there where you can donate via credit card, donate via PayPal. You can even set up a recurring donation if you wanted just to send me a few bucks every month just to kind of help keep the channel afloat. This is what we're doing full time now, or more or less full time. Not quite to the point where we're able to do it full time yet, but we're getting closer every month. And so this definitely helps us, your value for value support. If you want to be like this guy, pull out your credit card, look at your TooTallToby laptop. Look, he's got a poster of the tournament in the background. He's into it. You can use the super chat, which is currently enabled here in the live stream, or you can use the website TooTallToby.com/donate, or of course you could use super thanks if you are watching the recording. So please feel free to support the channel. We do have an avenue that you can use if you do want to support financially. If you want to help keep the channel moving forward and just kind of send us some value back. If you're getting value out of the channel, send us some value back, whatever that value is for you. All right, and speaking of trying to calculate value, let's find out what the answer is to this first challenge. So the first challenge here, let's get the chat up here real quick. Go. The first challenge here we had was this coil mount, and it looked like I saw the first answer coming in pretty early. It was back when we were just talking about those tutorials. So Will came in with an answer 0.2485. We'll call that 0.249. Victor K, hot on his heels, coming in with an answer 0.250. Will refining his answer 0.2479. So 0.248, he refined his answer to. Airwick refining to 0.2499. So we're really getting in tight here on these. I think we're all within tolerance. The tolerance, if you guys recall, in this one is plus or minus 0.001. So these guys are just going neck and neck for the super fine points. Bjorn coming in here 0.247. Let's see here. We got Chris Knudsen coming in 0.248. Whoops, Chris, I'm not trying to go to your channel. Let's see here. I can just click in the background, right? Oh God, we're stuck. We're not getting out of this. We're just stuck forever. Escape. Okay. All right, let's see here. And Gaddis coming in here 0.249, and Phosphor coming in 0.253 using plasticity. Very nice. Very, very nice. And I think I'm cutting off the bottom of the chat here. Let's make sure that we get Phosphor the recognition he deserves. There we go. 0.253. Very nice. So what is the correct answer for this challenge? The correct answer for this challenge is 0.250 plus or minus 0.001. And I think that the very first answer that came in from Will, 0.2485, which we would round to 0.249, which would give Will the point. But Victor K was right behind him with 0.250, hit it right on the nose. So we're going to give both of them the point because Will then revised to 0.248, which is outside of the spec. And we do typically take the last answer that was submitted. But you know what? We're just going to give it to both of them. Will and Victor K both get 1 point. Let's give a GG to Will. Let's give a GG to Victor K. And we got a super chat coming in from Jerry Smith. Hey, Toby, love the channel and all the CAD goodness. Thank you so much, Jerry. Very, very much appreciated. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back. And I'm glad that you're enjoying the channel. Thank you so much for that super chat. And again, GG to Will, GG to Victor K, GG to both. They both get a point for that one. And GG to Jerry Smith, and GG to me for finishing that challenge that Victor did in the tournament. GG to everybody, really. Everybody who got it. That's a tough model. You know, the tough thing about that model is how do you get that flange going around the bottom, especially if you're doing it in sheet metal? And the only answer I really have is that you really probably can't. The only way you would know that you could do that is if you knew that in some builds of SolidWorks, you can create a flange that goes around a rounded edge. So you could maybe create a flange that comes out like this, like an edge flange that comes out like that, all the way around. And then you could go in and you could cut the edge flange. But I wouldn't do it that way. I would just do it as a revolve. But even then, doing it as a revolve, it's still going to be kind of tricky. It's a very, very tricky part. You know, you could create the sketch from the section view here of the revolve, and you could revolve it. But when you revolve, you're going to end up with kind of an extra fan shape sticking out here. And then you're going to need to cut that to get your tombstone shape from that little bracket that's sticking off the end there. So definitely not an easy part. Striker says, I tried that. I tried the sheet metal. It did not work. Yeah, nice. Victor K said, I did this one as a reverse thickness shell. Very, very clever. I like that one. Yeah, that is very cool. Yeah, very tough sheet metal. Very, very tough if you did this one as sheet metal. You probably would not be able to make it as sheet metal, or you would have to do some real finagling. And that's why I included it. That's why I was hoping to have it in the tournament. Didn't make it in. You know, the Wheel of Fate is sometimes cruel. I would have loved to have seen this one in the tournament. But you know what, guys? Guess what? We got another challenge for you here, and this is another one that was slated to be in the tournament. So here we go. This next challenge is going to go live for all of you in 3, 2, 1, go. Code Hanger 2. Really, this should be Code Hanger 3 because we've already had Code Hanger 1 and 2. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? Tolerance is plus or minus 3 grams. Now, this one has a lot of special Toby notes. If Rich Penn was in the chat today, he would be he would be laughing it up. He'd be letting me know, Toby, I love all the little Toby notes. This one has a lot of Toby notes. So this model has a diameter of 8 millimeters all around the entire coat hanger. It's constant diameter. But this model has those little hooky things that you can use for, I guess they're for dresses. I think that's what those are for, garments that, Rich, yes, he's here. That's awesome. What's up, Rich? I was hoping you were out there. So yeah, lots of Toby notes on this one for you, Rich. This model, you can see it's got those little extra hook things on it. This is what makes it different. It's really coat hanger 3. I'm going to change it to coat hanger 3 when we make this into a practice model. But it's a new coat hanger challenge. And Chadwick says, this one looks like a beast. I will have to try it later. I have to get to class. Yep, Chadwick, another old friend of the show, was in the tournament this year as well. Inventor, wizard, absolute wizard. This is not an easy model. You guys you're gonna have to spend some time looking at this one. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? Tolerance is plus or minus 3 grams. We usually run Model Monday live until 1 o'clock p.m., but I got a feeling we're gonna go, or 2 o'clock p.m. I got a feeling we're gonna go just a little bit long today, probably like 2:15. So if anybody has to leave, it's totally cool. I understand. Give this model a try. Come back later. Put it in the comments. Let us know how you did with it. This is a cool model. And so I wish you guys the best of luck on this. And we are going to see who can come up with the correct mass on this part, plus or minus 3 grams. This is another one that I was hoping would make it into the tournament, but the Wheel of Fate did not select this model. So good luck to everyone. Very, very tricky model here. And I hope that you guys are all able to get this one. Let's talk a little bit about TooTallToby news. Training with TooTallToby. I have been putting together some training classes this year, a CSWP prep class, a Toby's tips and tricks training class, an intermediate/advanced part modeling training class, and an intermediate/advanced assembly techniques training class. So I have been putting together some training classes for the SolidWorks community. If anyone is interested, let me know. You can let me know via the contact form, but eventually I'm going to have these properly rolled out to everyone in the TooTallToby community. So for today, just kind of consider this a little bit of a preview, and just know that we do have some training classes available. If your team, if your purchasing department has money in the budget for training, for ongoing training for you and your SolidWorks team, let them know that this is something that we offer from TooTallToby, whether it's live in person, I come to your facility, or we do it over the web. We could do it over, a web meeting, or do it over Discord, whatever it is, we can do some live training. And eventually this is going to be open enrollment. So we'll have people from all kinds of different companies, or maybe even people just purchasing it personally who want to do some training with me. We're going to have all these options available. So just keep it in the back of your mind as we go into 2024. Striker's leaving. Got to head out and get some work done. Good to see you, Toby. Take it easy. Thanks a lot, Striker. Good to see you too. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great week as well. What a great way to start the week. And I got to tell you, a great way to end the week is having your final day of work be Wednesday. So for those of you who are here in the States and you get the Thursday, Friday holiday, good job. Good job. It's going to be a good week. Don't forget also at TooTallToby.com, we do have a tips page where a lot of the time-saving tips and tricks have been saved. Be on the lookout for that. The November leaderboard runs are live. We've already kind of talked about that a little bit. So let's get into some more Onshape 3D modeling. If you're out there watching, if you're trying to learn how to be a 3D modeling wizard yourself, then hopefully these walkthroughs will help you. It's not so much a tutorial, more like a walkthrough, but kind of in the same that same vein. This one's called Dust Lid. I think we saw Imants go up against Victor K trying to model this part. A very, very tricky part here. This model really has two areas that are very tricky. The first area that is very tricky is the fact that the lid here has an internal cut which is not parallel to the external cut of the lid, which means that we can't just get in there and do it as a shell. The lid also has an angle. So the dimension here on the outside of the lid has an angle, and the dimension on the inside of the lid has some dimensional values. So this is another element of this design that makes it unusually tricky. Definitely not a standard design that you would run into. And then the final thing that makes this model kind of tricky is that on the rear of this model, this handle here has the same face as the curvature of the outside of the lid. So how do we get that handle to have that same face? And of course, how do we end up with, the fillet being correct on that back side? You can see this fillet here actually follows a curve. In fact, it's called out in this note here as having a curve, this R20 along curved edge. So how do we get that to actually work? Rich Penn is saying, here's a technique that you could use. You could do this as a Boolean subtract. I got to tell you, Rich, I never even thought of doing it that way, and that probably would have been a way easier approach. So you could do an extrusion of this diameter, and then you could do a cut and cut off that top face of that diameter, and then you could just do a Boolean subtract. Just stick this slug up in the bottom of the dust cap and then do a Boolean subtract. I love this idea. I think this is a great idea and definitely would have been a clever approach to this. Very, very clever way of thinking about that. So let's give it a shot here. I think that the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to create this extra geometry here, the 70 to 90 geometry, as what's called a surface. I'm going to just basically sketch a line in that region where that 70 to 90 is, sketch a line, and then I'm going to extrude it out on just one side, and that's going to give me kind of a planar surface. Whoops, sorry about that graphical issue there. And then I'll be able to do a cut extrude up to face. So I'll do a remove up to face in Onshape, and that's going to get rid of that geometry. And then we'll see what happens with this kind of radius 20 along curved edge and this getting these faces to match. When we get into Onshape, we'll see if Onshape can handle doing that as just a simple convert and then cut extrude. I think that's probably the cleanest way to handle that. But I know that SolidWorks kind of has fits when you try to do that because of zero thickness issues. So we'll see if Onshape can handle that type of a challenge any better than SolidWorks. And if it gives me problems as well, then I'll just go in and come up with a different way of doing it. I'll just do a workaround on the fly. So here we see this model. This is called the dust lid, and we've got ourselves a basic game plan. The basic game plan, just to review here, is we're going to start out by creating this outside shape, either as a revolve or as an extrude. Then we're going to do a cut at 14 degrees. Then we're going to create a surface here for this inside angled face. Then we're going to create this cut extrude, and we'll do that going up to surface. And then after we get all that geometry in place, we'll do the handle. It looks like we can do the handle just as a mid-plane extrusion. So we'll just go mid-plane here on the handle. And then we're going to try to use a cut extrude to cut off this rear face to get those to be the same face. I think that's probably where I'm going to stop the tutorial. We'll see how we're doing for time. I want to make sure that we don't go too far over time. We're probably going to go about 15 minutes over time today. And not overtime, though. Bonus time. It's going to be bonus time. Extra time for everybody. So I'll try to keep an eye on the chat while I'm going through and modeling this. But as you probably could tell from earlier in the session, I do get kind of in the zone when I'm modeling. It's where I'm my happiest, right? That's my happy place, is when I'm in the zone modeling. All right, let's do a close here on this receiver. If you have the free version of Onshape, you can search for this file, 23-T-77 receiver, because it is in the public space. And I'm also going to be creating this document here in the public space. So this new public document is going to go, it's going to be called 23-T-80-dust lid. And if you want to search for this in the free version of Onshape, it is a public document. You can open it up and you can examine my work and maybe see if you can come up with a more refined way of doing this. Actually, I'm going to start this sketch on the right plane just based on how it's shown in the print. So I go to the right plane, begin a new sketch, and I think I'm going to kind of take an approach similar to what I did last time, where I'm going to create some layout geometry here for this first kind of tricky feature. So I'm going to create, again, a construction line here. It's going to make it easy for me to get some double dimensions, and then I'm going to create this interior geometry as well. And I think this will help me to visualize the challenge, and it'll also give me some layout geometry that I can use a little later in the challenge. So let's get these 2 points together. Let's go to our smart dimension here, and we're going to create a smart dimension that goes from this line to the center line across, and we'll give that a diameter of, that's 200. What's up, X area? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Let's do a Shift M here for midpoint. I don't know how long Shift M has been in there as a midpoint shortcut, but I'm sure happy that it's in there now. And then we're going to create some dimensions here representing the offset distance. So that's our offset of 15. Our offset of 15 here. And then the dimension that represents the we'll call it the height of the overall part, is actually dimensioned to the midpoint. So it's going to be dimensioned here at a dimension of 105. And then we've got an angle dimension to define kind of what that cut is. So I'll make that 14. And now for these dimensions here, this is that 90 and 70 dimension that represent that interior cut. And again, this is my layout. This is helping me visualize what's going on with the part. I think it's going to make it a lot easier for me to create the subsequent features if I have this layout. And so I could now either reuse that sketch geometry, or I could start a new sketch on the right plane and just kind of reference that geometry. In fact, I could do this as a rectangle here and then turn that rectangle into a revolve using this line here as the center line. And that's going to set me up nicely for the next feature here, which again, I could go to the right plane, you know, and now instead of actually using that sketch geometry, what I could do is I can just kind of almost trace that sketch geometry. So instead of, you know, selecting the sketch itself, I could just make new geometry right over top of that sketch and use that new geometry to do in this case, a cut revolve. So I'm going to do a cut revolve through all symmetric, which is kind of like through all in both directions. And now I could go back to that right plane again. And now I could either trace or I could just convert this line here. Either way works. And now I can use that line as what's called a surface extrude. So when I go into my extrude command here, I could choose to do a surface extrude of that line. And I could say I want that to come out to, let's say, 80 millimeters. There we go. That's enough. I could even make it 100, just come out half of the material thickness there. And so now you see that when I bring that geometry out to that depth, now I'm setting myself up nicely to create the cut extrude up to a face. So I'll begin this sketch on this face here. I'll go into my offset command. And from my offset command, I'm going to say that this is going to offset either to the inside or the outside. It's going to offset to the inside here, and it's going to offset to 15 millimeters. And now I'm ready to take that and do a remove. So that's going to be a solid using the remove option, and that's going to go up to face. And that way I can just take that offset and run it right up to that face. There we can see that beautiful Onshape preview. Love looking at that preview. Remember, we can press P to get rid of our planes if the planes are becoming a little bit too in the way. And so now I think I'm pretty much done with that, that layout sketch. And I'm also done with this surface. And so what I like to do is just go down to the bottom of the Part Studio where all the different bodies are listed. I click on that surface and I press delete. And I'm adding a new feature here called delete part. So that feature was there, that surface was there. I did use it for that, end condition. And then I did a new feature called delete part just to get rid of that surface. It just kind of helps keep things clean. So now once again, I'll go to the right plane and I'll begin a new sketch here. And now I'm going to sketch the geometry for that handle. So the handle comes out here 20 millimeters. It goes up, let's see, is that dimension defined? Not really. So it goes up some distance here. It goes up here towards the very top, comes straight down, comes in to a distance of 30 millimeters, comes up, comes down here, parallel. So you see, I just hold my mouse over this line and then I can get the parallel relationship to that line. And then that's going to come down like so. And we'll just get those 2 points together. And now we've got a couple of more dimensions. This is going to be at a distance of 30. These two are parallel as well. Make those two parallel. And then that is going to be at a distance of 40. And this point here is going to be coincident to the back of the model there. Now, this dimension here, this blue line here, we really don't need to define it. We just need to make sure that it's not protruding underneath where this angled cut is. So maybe what I would do here is just add kind of like a do nothing dimension of 5 millimeters. And that's just making sure that it stays dynamic. So, I'm not leaving it completely loose, but I am setting myself up so that, it's also not going to inadvertently protrude in there. So it's just giving me like a little bit of a dynamic relationship there to that angled cut. This other dimension, it is actually defined as 40 from the base. So 40 here from the base to this location. This is 10 sticking out the front here. Just going off the print. And there we go. Nice black sketch. Nice and fully defined, fully constrained. That's what I like. I'm not going to add the fillets in on this sketch. I think that it makes the sketch too busy. I like to keep my sketches simple. So I like to just kind of leave them nice and black and just add in all those dimensions there. And now I'm ready to take that geometry and turn it into an extrusion to a depth of 40 and a mid-plane. So I click symmetric here to make that mid-plane. And now I'm ready to add some fillets. So I'm going to go into my fillet command. I'm going to start out with a fillet here with a radius of 20. I could also do this with a full round, but I'm just going to do it like that. And then at the end here, this is a shortcut I made a video about once. I'm going to hold shift and press enter. And what that does is it finishes that command, but then it just jumps me right into the next fillet command. So now I could do another fillet here also at 20, and then I can do shift and enter. And then that takes me into another fillet command here. This one's going to be 50, so I'm going to put that on this edge right here, shift and enter. That jumps me into the fillet command again, and then this one is going to be 10, and that's going to go on this edge right here. And so now I'm done with the fillet command, so I just finish up with that command. And now it's time to make it so that this face on the rear of the model is the same as this curved face here. This is a little tricky. This is something that happens a lot in design where the customer will say, you know, can we just make those the same face? I don't want it to be sticking out a little. I want it to be a nice blend. And so you have to, you know, learn different techniques that you can use to make that face. I see Victor K in the chat saying so many weird offsets. Yep. It was the finals, man. You know, we had to do it. We had to do it for the finals. We had to make it a little bit tough. So here what I'm going to do is just start a sketch down here, and then I'm going to take this face right here, and I'm going to do a convert, a project or a convert. I'm going to take this face right here, and I'm going to also do a project or a convert. Now, I feel like in SolidWorks, this would be a real problem because you'd end up with kind of like a zero thickness. But I feel like Onshape might be able to handle this because just from my experience, it makes better use of like multi-body in one of these types of scenarios. So I'm going to do this as a remove, and I'm going to say through all. Let's see, it's showing red, so maybe it won't work. Oh, it worked. Oh yeah, I like that. I really, really like that one. All right, cool. So we were able to just take that and do that cut extrude, essentially a remove, extruding that cut geometry up and through. I see Airwick in the chat saying replace face should work as well. Let's try it. I'm definitely open to trying it here. Let's try. So we roll back there. So we're going to try and do replace face here. And we're going to say that this face is going to get replaced with this face. Ho, 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 baby. I like that. That's a double thumbs up. That's a GG to Airwick right there. Wow, wow, wow. I really like that one. Cool. So either way, we could do that with a replace face. We could do that with a cut extrude. Very, very nice. I see Rich Penn is saying thin extrude maybe would work there too. Yep, I love all these suggestions. So I'm just gonna suppress these here, but yeah, that was pretty sweet. We didn't even need a new surface. We just did a replace face and picked this surface, and Onshape kind of extended it. Very, very cool. And so then that shows us kind of the other trick with that, you know, with that filleted face there. If this was, let me go back to this being a cut extrude here. So if we unsuppress this and we go to solid, and then we add a fillet here with a radius of 20 millimeters. That's what the fillet's supposed to be. If we add a fillet here with a radius of 20 millimeters on that edge, and then we roll forward to that cut extrude, I went back to doing it as a cut extrude. See, we don't end up with that nice smooth blend of the fillet. That fillet really needs to come afterwards. And of course, we could reorder this, drag it down, and then that edge changed. So now we just need to reselect that edge. We pick that edge there, and there we go. That's what we were hoping for. So that's pretty much it for that one. Let me see, what are we doing for time? 2:05. I may as well, I've come this far. I may as well finish this thing out, right? So let's see if we got it right. So we go top plane, we get normal 2. We say we're gonna do an ellipse. So we're gonna go into our circle command here. We're gonna choose ellipse. Let's make an ellipse here, and this is gonna be 50 by 25. And I like to put a point here on my ellipses in Onshape just to kind of give myself a nice setup here for the relationships. I don't think you always need to put in a vertical here, but a lot of times I'll do it just kind of like a peace of mind type of thing. And so the distance here to all the way across is going to be, I think it's 80 between those center lines? 85. So here in Onshape, we could type in 85/2, or we could have mirrored that. That might have been another way to do that. So if I make this a construction line here, I could window these and mirror. You know, that'll certainly work as well. And then we're going to say that the distance from this point to here is going to be a distance of 12. And that looks like a beautiful sketch to extrude with a remove. And that's going to go through all. And very impressive that in the tournament, our runners both remembered, or at least Victor, I think Alnus got it as well as he was winding down. This final fillet here, I missed this final fillet every single time I audited this part. So I was really impressed that the runners didn't miss it. That's why they are pros and in the tournament, and why I am just the tournament director, because I would constantly miss that fillet. So that should be it. Let's go to our material here, assign material. This is going to be the TooTallToby custom material, and this is going to be the ABS as the material. And then let's take that and do a mass properties, and the answer is 1809, and that is correct. 1809, and that is correct. And so that's that model. It had a tolerance of plus or minus 2 grams, but if you model it that way, you hit it spot on. 1809 is the correct answer. And that's your tutorial in Onshape, or walkthrough, speed run, whatever you want to call it, in Onshape of that model, of those 2 models. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave some comments, participate in the chat. Rich Penn says GG to all. Eric says GG Toby. Thank you so much. And let's get into it here and find out who got the answer correct. Don't forget, if you enjoy the show, TooTallToby.com/donate, or Super Chat is available. Or if you're watching the recording, super thanks, TooTallToby.com/donate if you want to send some value for value. If you value what we're doing, let us know. It's a great way to let us know. And with that, we're going to go in here to answer number 2. Let's see here. We got some awesome participation on this one. Lots of dimensions on this. EKTA says, when is other session? I think that you may be referring to the tournament, and if you are, it is TooTallToby.com/spring. It will begin in February. You can register right now. You can try to qualify right now on the leaderboard, TooTallToby.com/spring. I got a slide for that in just a few moments. All right, first answer came in here from Victor K, 169 grams. Will coming in 168 grams. McBobbles says, so sketchy. Yes, indeed. I completely agree. Victor K coming in here 165 grams. Airwick coming in 165 grams. Oof, that was a lot of dimensionings. So many weird offsets on that other model. Yep. Bjorn Vanderbosch says 212.34. Very, very nice. Let's see here what else we got in this. Missing 20 millimeter radius on the handle. Yep, we got in there. We got that one. We had to save that one for later. Bjorn revising 164, 163, 164. Ali coming in 166.72. Very, very nice. Very nice. X area. Started a bit late on this one. However, I love these kinds of CAD challenges because they make me explore tools and features I don't normally use. Yeah. One of the guys from SolidBox was with me while we were doing the auditing. And he said that he was struggling to create this shape here, the round at the end here. Now, for me, what I do with that round is I just did it as a revolve. Just create a sketch like this. You have a center line, you just do a revolve, and you have a spherical revolve. Or you do it this way. You just do like a half of that shape. And then this is your center line, and then you do a revolve there. But he said he was really struggling with that shape. And Ali in the chat is saying what Chris found. He said you could use dome there as well. Yeah, you could do it with a dome. I did it with a 4 millimeter fillet. Eric says I use 4 millimeter fillet. That's what I did as well. So several different techniques you could use there. You could use a revolve. You could use a fillet. You could use a dome to do that. Lots of different ways that you could do this model. In fact, one thing that is easy to overlook in this model is that if you wanted to use, I don't want to say an exploit, but if you wanted to use a totally different approach on how to create this model, you could draw a lot of the model from the front view. You could draw, this shape here all from the front view, and then just extrude it out to a depth of 8 millimeters, and then just wrap 4 millimeter fillets around the whole thing. Right? You could just do the whole thing as a brick, essentially as a solid, and then just do 4mm fillets around the whole thing. Now you would still run into some challenges here where the blends take place, and that's why I like this permutation of the hanger as opposed to earlier permutations. But you know, that would be another way that you could do it. You could just extrude it all sharp and then fillet everything. So lots of different ways you can do this. That's why I like this model. A little sad, brings a little tear to my eye that it didn't make it into the tournament, but you know, it is what it is. All right, let's see what people got here. We already went through, we looked at the answers. Ali Amore is here in the chat. What's up, Ali? Welcome, welcome. Great to see you in here again. All right, here we go. The correct answer for this one. We already looked at all the answers, right? We didn't miss anybody. Correct answer for this one is 165 grams plus or minus 3 grams. And so, drum roll please. Our first answer came in from came in from Victor K, 169. 1 gram off tolerance. Sorry, Victor. Will comes in 168. That is our first answer that is within tolerance. Will gets the point for that second one. Congratulations to Will, GG. And then, of course, Victor K comes in right after him, 165, right on the nose. So did Airwick, right on the nose. Very nice, very nice. So congratulations to everyone who participated in Model Monday Live today. You guys are all champions. These are not easy models. I'm looking through, I'm seeing a lot of you are either within tolerance. Bjorn getting in here within tolerance. Ali getting in here within tolerance. Very nice, very nice. Fun model. So Will, it's a me. That's right. GG to Will. Very nicely done. GG to Victor as well. Very nicely done. GG to everybody who got this one, who got in here and modeled this one up. And I hope that you guys are enjoying these kinds of challenges. Or really, I know that you're enjoying these kinds of challenges. This is what we're all here for, right? We're all here because we enjoy these challenges. So thank you all so much for joining me today. Couple of final slides here. Congrats to the winner. Be sure to check out the SW Expert Learns Onshape if you want to learn more about Onshape, a great playlist. Thank you so much to Alibre. Thank you so much to Joko Engineering. Thank you so much to SolidBox. And thank you so much to Revopoint for sponsoring the tournament, for putting up some epic prizes to everyone. Rich Penn in the chat says, happy Thanksgiving to all. Yep, good luck this week, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Try to save up your appetite so you can just eat everything on the table. No leftovers. Just go for it the whole day. Enjoy yourself. Take a sleeping bag with. That's a kind of a pro move. Take a sleeping bag with to whoever's house you're going to. And that way you can just kind of crash out on the couch and you got your own sleeping bag there ready to go. Don't forget the Spring Open is currently available for qualification. TooTallToby.com/spring. You can get in there. That qualification is going to end 1/24/24. That is when the qualification period will end. So you still have a lot of time. And that's it. Sign up for a free account at TooTallToby.com. We'll be back next Monday, November 27th. We'll have some more great models for you. Between now and then, be sure to check out the practice models, the shorts, the pro moves, power moves, social media, text, and image-based posts, everything that we put out there. Be sure to like it. Be sure to share it. Be sure to spread the word of TooTallToby, the gamification of 3D CAD. And we will see everybody next week. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy the holiday. Get lots of work done.